Hello, everyone. It's me again with another attempt to leverage ChatGPT for yet another use case in go to market. This one is around generating outcomes for our product. And so I worked at Gong, and one of the projects that I was working on, big initiatives, was in mapping our product to customer outcomes. As you can imagine, uh, with a lot of companies now looking at their tech investments, it becomes absolutely critical that you can tie your product to customers' business outcomes. And so I'd spent a lot of time last year working as part of a cross functional initiative to figure this out. And I was trying to figure out if I could have sped up my process leveraging ChatGPT. And so this is my attempt at it. I'm going to share the process that I went through so you can see what I did. And so, first thing I did was this time, because I wanted to give it as much context as possible, I wrote it down in a Word document or Google Docs in this case. And I said, I'm leading an effort to document the business outcomes at my product, talk about what the product is, can deliver to what the persona is. Talked about like how we started out as conversation intelligence and call recording, and then we added more capabilities. I put examples of capabilities so that it would get more context. Um, and I kind of go in more detail on like how you can use Gong for pipeline management, how you can use it to run your initiatives, how you can use it for sales engagement, how you can then update the CRM, all the stuff that Gong is doing to drive capabilities for the customer. And then I said that with this above context on what we do, we're looking to build out an outcomes map that starts at the ultimate outcomes that executives are really looking for. Right, end of the day, what executives care about is how is this helping me increase revenue, increase productivity, or decrease costs. And then from there, it's like, how do I connect Gong to those three uh, ultimate lagging indicators that a customer is interested in? And that was the outcomes map exercise that we had gone, which was mapping our capabilities to outcomes that the customers care about. And I gave some more examples of what intermediate or leading indicators you could put in between to connect the dots. And what I said is I'd like you to generate the output as a mind map or a visual representation. Uh, so my intent was to see, can ChatGPT take this information and generate something that is a good starting point that I could then use to collaborate with other folks and get going. Because as you know, for a lot of these initiatives and a lot of the work that we do, getting that V1 out is what takes the most time. Once you have a V1 out, people can then react to it. You have a point of view. People can say, I don't like this, I like that. But oftentimes, you know, we waste a lot of time trying to come up with that V1. And I wanted to see if ChatGPT could help me with the V1. So I took this, and the first thing I did was I actually uh, went to ChatGPT. For those of you who know, I mean, if you go, you pick whimsical diagrams, you go to Explore GPTs, pick whimsical diagrams. I'm using that for diagramming. And I basically pasted that whole text in there that you saw. I'm leading this effort, blah, blah, blah. You can see this text, just paste it in there, and it goes and it creates a mind map. So it shows there's increased revenue, increased productivity, decreased costs. It kind of ties that and says the way you want to increase revenue is by increasing win rates, increasing pipeline. The way you increase win rates is driving more messaging adoption, better deal engagement. And then this talks about how Gong can help uh, the capabilities in the product, insights on customer interactions. You know, good enough. It's actually pretty decent. Um, and then what I realized is that it, in a lot of ways, took what I had given it and just expanded a little on it. And I was wondering if there was a way to actually have it generate more rather than just take what I have and visualize it. Now, I mean, to be fair, all of this stuff on the right is stuff that it automatically generated. So what I did was I actually went to ChatGPT. So now in this case, I picked GPT-4. And this is something I'm starting to realize is that there are these GPTs that are custom built for a specific purpose. And to truly get what I want, I might have to kind of combine some of these together, like use one GPT to get the details I want and then plug it into another GPT so that I can then visualize it. So that there's these kind of purpose built GPTs that do something really, really well. And I'm playing around with this. And so, again, same thing. What I did was plug that in. And in this case, so this is going to be interesting. So you're going to see I plugged this in and I said, can you generate a visual for me? So I was just curious if I could just use ChatGPT 4 without using the whimsical diagrams to not only come up with the outcomes, but then go plug it into a visual. So same thing, it kind of types it out, increase revenue, decrease productivity costs. From that, it says these are the kind of level one indicators, level two indicators, then level three indicators, and then it creates this visual, which and sometimes I wonder what ChatGPT is actually smoking when it does something like this. I get what it's trying to somehow show, but all the text is gibberish, all these kind of random stuff, highly complicated diagram. But I can see the potential of somebody taking it, and if it could actually generate the content in a more realistic way, it would have created a really good infographic that shows, how we can get increased win rates. I guess this is sales strategy, maybe. I don't even know. I mean, it's just hard to figure out what it was. The ultimate business outcome. I guess these are leading indicators. Um, I don't. It looks cool. Text is all messed up. I would love it if it could put it in the text, but it does give you some ideas. So again, it's not there completely, and you can see where the what I was saying earlier around some GPTs are good for certain things. It's definitely not great in generating this. Um, and so that is that. And then what I did was I said, okay, this is great, but can you now expand level one, level two? And so it goes and it adds a lot more to level one, level two, which again, if you think about it, it's this iterative process where in the past I would have had to think about all this stuff. It's coming up with a really good point of view that I can then take and apply. Um, and then what I wanted to do was, how would we measure this? So this has always been a challenge. It's like, yeah, I can say I can help you increase productivity. I can help you increase, uh, make you more multi-threaded. But how do I really measure that? Because end of the day, when I talk to customers about this, that's what they care about, is how is that measured? And so I actually had ChatGPT generate that ultimate outcomes and measurement strategies. If you want to increase revenue, the metric should be year over year, growth rate, and this is how you should measure it. If you want productivity, sales efficiency ratio. Again, is it perfect? No, but is it a really, really, really good V1 that could have a group of people then take and collaborate and make this much better? Absolutely. I think as a starting off point. And so if you're not leveraging ChatGPT to help build your V1, you're just wasting a lot of time in like collaborative meetings, brainstorming, and stuff like that to come up with a V1. I've always found it easy to show up to meetings with a point of view, because then people can disagree with it. They can say, I don't like this or I like this. But if you just show up in a let's figure this out, you spend a lot of time going back and forth. Now, there is value in that part too. But sometimes I feel like having a specific point of view helps you at least go in a certain direction. And I can see where somebody might say, but it locks you into a point of view because now you've kind of created something that people will then react off of. So the out of the box thinking goes out of the window. But I can see where I could use ChatGPT to generate three versions of this, and it could generate three very different point of views if that's what I wanted. So you can see it actually, how would I generate pipeline? How would I calculate pipeline growth rate? So that's pipeline velocity. And so comes up with a pretty decent thing. And then I said, combine all of this together into one response. And so I did that. And what I then did was I took this, both those responses, and now I went back to my whimsical diagram and I pasted all of that in with what ChatGPT had come up with. And now you can see it actually generates this visual where it starts by saying you want to increase revenue, the way you want to do it, this is the metric, these are the KPIs. Increase productivity, this is the metric, these are the KPIs. You want to decrease costs, metrics, KPIs. And then same thing, if you want to increase win rate, so this is like level one, leading indicator, metric, KPI, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes to level two and it goes to level three. Now I could have it do it in a bit of a different way if I wanted to. But the point being that the fact that ChatGPT could take me this far and have something this detailed, all I gave it was this is what Gong does, these are capabilities in our product, these are the outcomes that every customer cares about. Now connect the dots for me. I think is a pretty good way to think about how this is going to fundamentally change how people spend their time working with ChatGPT. Again, I'm not saying that at the end of it, I just take it and use it, but I feel like this is that creating that initial point of view, I think is just invaluable for me.